going like that, you know, and so I know how difficult it is to lose one like this, and I think this is only maybe the second time that I've ever had it twice to beat that I've won. I remember doing it once before. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, like I said outside, it almost takes a special group to be able to do this kind of thing, and you know, we proved that these guys proved that they were pretty special last conference, and you know, grinding out that championship, and now coming back here and finding a way to beat a really tough Alaska team. You know, to me, they're one of the toughest, if not the toughest to play. I know Jumar is a load, but the constant pressure that Alaska puts on you, the discipline that they play with, is just really hard to go against. And I did not feel good about this series at all. In fact, if I could have chosen any team, Alaska would have been the last one we wanted to try to beat twice. But I don't know. Guys figured out a way. I'm not sure how we did it, but the guys figured out a way. We did have good preparation coming into this game. We had like 5 days, and as I told the players, you know, you give us 5 days, we can figure out a way to get comfortable coming into a series. What's hard is when you have that one-day turnaround, and which we're going to have, I guess, against Pureflute. Anybody know what our next game is? Is it Thursday?
Thursday, Coach.
Yeah. I don't want to hear it from you. You're the one that schedules them. It's so hard to come back after one day and play again. But you know, we know Pureflute's pretty well. You know, we know most of their players, and we played against Pauli in a number of series and Rain or Shine. So, and they know, you know, our style and the way we play. So it should be a tough series. They're playing great basketball. I mean, it's awesome to watch them play. They're like, I think their winning margin, average winning margin, like 16 points a game, which is incredible. San Miguel's only like 7, more like 3. So you know, they're playing great basketball. But we'll see if we can figure out a way. We're hoping that Joe Devance gets back in the series at some point. He needs they say he needs 2 weeks of rest before he can get back in. But knowing Joe, I think he'll be back quicker than that. But we'll see. But getting him back would be a huge boost for us. In the meantime, Aljon and Kevin stepped up huge tonight. LA was the leader, of course. So, and our defense helped. And I'm about ready to collapse.
Coach, anything in particular you reminded your young players and
Well, I think in any knockout game, you have to be the aggressor. You have to come out wanting to be the aggressor. And you never hear about teams, oh, they weren't very aggressive, that's why they won. You know, it's always they won because they were aggressive. And so, you know, that's basically our message to our young guys. You got to go out there and play aggressively. And Aljon was practicing very well. I held him out of the last game, even though he was maybe available, but I wanted him to get on the bench and really feel like the game and before he got out there and played. So, and we weren't surprised he played so well. He's been playing that well even last conference. But he has a tendency to back up Joe, and now Kevin's there, and so he doesn't get the playing time that he oftentimes deserves. But when he gets him, it really takes advantage of it. He really takes advantage of it.
Coach, can you talk about the significance of the play of your young guys in light of the short turnaround you have?
Well, that's the good news. We have young guys, so you know they're not going to be worn out like a lot of other teams. You know, AJ, Kevin, you know they'll be ready to go. Scotty, he'll be ready to go. Japeth still has really good legs. You know, so that's not our concern so much. Turning around right now, playing game 1, playing game 2. What hurts you is that there's no break all the way to game 7. So it's really the 5, 6, and 7 games that you worry about in terms of energy and keeping the players' legs. But that's just a matter of managing. You know, that's our job. That's our trainer's job. That's our PT's job. We're going to have to manage these guys, keep them fresh and keep them going. That's one of the big parts of playing a 7-game series is keeping guys fresh and right. When you think about the strategy and you know all that sometimes that's secondary to just having guys ready to play, healthy and fresh and ready to go.
Coach, ever since you guys won the PBA Governor's Cup last season, do you think that winning that championship really sort of changed your team's mindset, especially when you guys head to these kinds of games?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. We knew we were going to get off to a slow start this conference. We kept telling our players then that we didn't have to be good now. I'm sorry, we don't have to be great now. We just have to be good. We don't have to be great. But there comes a time at the end of the conference where we're end of the eliminations where you start to have to be great. And coming off that short turnaround, when I was talking to Norman Black about it, about how difficult it was to come back after that, that tremendous series, and they had to beat Talking Tex to get there. We had to beat San Miguel to get there, which is totally exhausting. Then turn around and have to come back and play. But it was very difficult. But we always talk about the process and moving forward, and I think we did that, even though we fell behind in the standings. The one thing we said we didn't want to do was get into a twice to beat. That was the one thing we didn't want to do, and of course that's what happened. But I think the experience of playing big games, I think the experience of playing with big crowds, learning how to use the crowd in your favor and not make it, get nerviosa or whatever when when the crowd is there. I think those things really, we learned those lessons in the last series, and we were able to bring it back today. I don't think we get intimidated by our own crowd anymore. I felt when I first came to the team, we would get intimidated by our own crowd. But now we've learned to embrace them, and we learned to understand that they're such a huge weapon for us. And in a series like this, when you're fatigued after winning the first game, you're fatigued, that crowd just keeps you moving and keeps you pumped up. And that's why, like in the NBA, the home teams have such a huge advantage, because they overcome things that other teams can't, because they've got that push behind them. It's an unnatural push. And I've never had that before, ever, in my coaching career or playing career, crowds like that. So it's been really fun to learn how to react with these tremendous fans. Sorry, that's probably more information than you wanted. Get me going, I can't shut up.
Who do you think is the favorite going to your series?
Oh, I think obviously it's Purefoods. They've gone. I mean, we've won 5 out of our last 6, so we're not playing too badly, and we've overcome some injuries along the way. But I mean, come on, Purefoods has not even lost a game. I mean, won by less than 30 points in like the last 5 or 6 games. They're really coming on. But I don't know, if they want to make us the favorites, I'll be happy with that. Either way, we're just glad to be there at this point. Overcoming Alaska, well, it's a huge feat in itself. But as I told the players as the clock was winding down, this is not our championship. We got to make sure we understand this is not our championship. This is not all we're looking for. But we're looking to more forward to moving on. And frankly, I'm looking forward to 7 games of Manila Classico. I mean, what's better than that? The last time I did it, it was on the other side. We had a semifinals against Ginebra, and it went 7 games. And we broke all kinds of records during that series. So it was a fun series then, and now I'm on the other side. Looking forward to it.
Coach, you wish you could go to Game 7 and play a bigger arena, probably Filipino League?
Not really, because when you've been playing, you want that consistency. You don't want to all of a sudden change the venue, and all of a sudden the rims are different. And there's the routines are different. It's very difficult to play that kind of game. But obviously we have no control over that. So whatever the PBA decides, we do. But I mean, if we have to accommodate, we can accommodate 50,000 fans to watch our game. I'd love to do that too. Whatever.
Coach, is it like going up against 2 of your former teams?
Yeah, Chris, my wife and I were talking about that. You don't want to look too far beyond, what we were doing now. I was trying very, very hard, today especially, to think about Purefoods. I didn't want to think, I kept fighting myself, don't think about doing it. You got to stay here, you got to stay focused, stay in the moment. And I fought myself all day. And then my wife brings it up, and I go, don't talk to me about that now, And, but, you know, she kind of forced it on me, and we did talk about the idea that, you know, one team and the next, and it's two teams that are very familiar with the style we play, and you know, Tony De La Cruz gave me a big hug after the game, and Sonny came over and gave me a big hug. I mean, they're still very much a big part of my, you know, who I am, and now I've got to do that with Ping, and PJ, and Mark, Ian, you know, Rappy, all those guys there. The only guys I can shun is Paul, because I've never been with Paul. But Elaine also, you know, so, you know, it's, yeah, it's tough. The coaching staff is still my staff. And Jason and Johnny and Mon Jose, they're all still there. So that team was very dear to my heart, very, very dear. But, you know, now it's no holds barred, you know, last man standing.
Two best defensive teams in the conference.
Yeah, we're also the best offensive team too. There's a little bit of a difference. We're like the worst offensive, they're the best. But we're the two best defensive teams in terms of scoring. I think we're still number one in terms of field goal percentage and defensive efficiency. But yeah, you know, we're going to have to find a way to slow them down. You know, they're shooting the ball well, they're moving well, they create a lot of stuff. They're number one in the league in turnovers, creating turnovers. You'd think Alaska is, but no, they start. So they create a lot off their defense, and they have a great flowing offense, and they shoot the ball really well. You know, Coach Vic Delaro has taken that team and made it better. You know, he really has from the time I've had it. They're much better than they ever were with me over the last 5. We never had a stretch like that for 5 or 6 games. Incredible. Incredible. But we're just going to try to find a way to get them out of their comfort zone. That's going to be our job. I can't tell you what that is. I don't even know yet myself. But we'll figure it out, try to work it tomorrow in one practice and come out with it, and then try to grow through the series.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys.